First of all, let me say that when I was still in high school, and I went to public schools in D.C. from second grade on, I had an absolutely terrific teacher, math, Mrs. Richardson. I never knew her first name and would not have dared use it if I did. She set me on fire to be a teacher and a math teacher. So we looked around at a lot of different places, or I did at any rate, and for reasons some of which I can't remember and some of which are totally boring, Hopkins came up very high on the list because A, it had a very good math department, B, it was reasonably close to D.C., but it was not in D.C. You get my drift. So it looked very, very good, and I decided to go there. They gave me a scholarship. That helped. But when I got there, I discovered that I had made a very, very lucky decision because the atmosphere there was incredibly progressive. There was no set list of 193 things you had to do. I was assigned a tutor the day I arrived, and he said, now we're going to work out what you need by way of an education, and when I decide you're educated, you'll get your degree. Deal? I said, deal. No differentiation between undergraduates. It was absolutely electrifying. They don't do it that way anymore. Shame on them. So that's what got me to Hopkins, and that's what makes me remember it very, very fondly, although they've changed. They've actually admitted women. Oh, shame, oh, shame. Anyway, I wandered from Hopkins to theological seminary for 4 years. I knew I had done the wrong thing by the time I had been there 6 months. But as I often say, and I don't mind saying it again, I came to the very, very quick conclusion that either God had made a big mistake or I had made a big mistake. And I thought the latter was more likely, that I had misinterpreted the message and that the seminary was not where I belonged. But the whole work ethic kicked in, and I said, well, I started it. I'm going to finish it. So I worked at that for 4 years, but by the time I got out of that, I was looking for a grad school because the old ethos had kicked back in. I wanted to teach, and I knew I wasn't going to be math anymore, but I wanted to teach. We lived in North Carolina because that's where the seminary was, and I was married. And North Carolina had programs that suited my desires and the desires of my wife. She was in public health. So North Carolina was sort of a destined choice, you might say. Got there and again discovered that I had made a very, very fortunate decision, not so much because of Carolina, but because of the particular individual who became my mentor, Maynard Adams. He worked with me and on me and browbeat me for the 4 years that I was there. 2 years after that, after I'd been teaching at another school for several years, he moved heaven and earth to get me the job at the University of Richmond, from which he was an alumnus. We remained very, very good friends until he died about 5 or 6 years ago. But bottom line, good luck, good people, and a very, very strong sense that education is an individual thing. It's not something that you can do with a cookie cutter.